All right. Looks like the mic is working okay. So welcome to December's live Q&A session for Patreons. I know notifications go out and you guys will start to come on board momentarily. Just give me a second here while I pop out the chat and get myself organized. I want to just say, first of all, thank you to everybody that is... Just give me a second here while I... Oh, kill that. Okay, good. Just want to thank everybody that's become a Patreon and supported and continues to support the work. It is much appreciated and helps me continue to create stuff on here. Got a whole bunch of questions here. I'm going to go through the origin of the questions and try to answer as many of them as possible. If you're, it looks like I got somebody on there. Just give me a quick note. Let me know where you're from, that you can hear me okay. Just want to make sure the audio is coming in loud and clear. While I get set up here. Yeah, okay, it's over there. This is something I screw up every time. How do you pop out the chat? Give me a sec here. Give me a sec here. How do you do that? Screen share, chat. All right. In the chat, let me know where you're watching this from, if you're viewing this live. I want to make sure you can hear the audio okay and it's working just fine before I get started here on the questions I got. Yeah. See, got to get a sound guy at some point once I figure this out. Okay, and that goes there. Perfect. Okay, got those questions from the private Facebook page. Got the Hangout and live chat. Let's pop that out. Pop out chat. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I've got some viewers on. Do me a favor, in the chat box, just type something in there. Let me know that you can hear me okay. Let me know the audio is good. Okay. All right, so first question I'm going to get into, I'll start with, of course, the people that support the creation of the content on the channel, the Patreons. Guys, if you're not supporting the channel as a Patreon yet, consider it. It's, you know, there's like, I think 4 or 5 different tiers in there. Basic tier is participating in the private Facebook group, where you can get into all kinds of, you know, direct questions with me and the community on anything you're dealing with or anything you want to add value on. Basically, it's an ask give sort of principle. So if you're stuck on something, you can ask for help. If you want to give something to the community, you can do it there. I'm only allowing men into the community just to keep the conversation flowing as naturally as possible. But please consider that. There's, of course, the other ones where there's higher tiers where you can get access to premium video content. Once a month, I put out a long form video, usually 30 to 45 minutes, focusing on one specific topic to help men become better versions of themselves. So without any further ado, I'm going to grab the first question I got here from the private Facebook community. Comes from Charles. He goes, can't make it tonight. So here's my questions. Started losing weight back in October from 326 down to 291 as of yesterday. Congrats, man. And though I still got a ways to go, it feels tremendous with the holidays and parties and food coming up. Well, okay, what should be my main plan of attack in order not to get into any weight back? Number 2, I go to this gym. Okay, I'll deal with number 2 first. The biggest thing is move more, eat better. You know, it's as simple as those 2 things. Move more, which is, of course, exercise. Eat better is eat quality food. If it comes out of a freezer, if it comes out of the microwave, it's shit. If it's got like more than a couple of ingredients on the box, it's shit. If it tastes very sugary or salty, it's shit. It's as simple as that. My recommendation, the stuff that works for me and has always worked for me and for guys that I've talked to about this sort of stuff in the past, is quality meats that you cook yourself, and greens, vegetable greens. You can throw in other things in there if you like dairy, like cheese. I mean, I'm not a strict dietarian or anything like that, but I'll get into cheeses from often time to time, cheese fondue. So I do eat dairy. I don't eat a lot of bread, but if I'm going out and it's there and it comes with the food, it gets eaten, right? So those are the first two things. The second part of the question you ask is, you go to the gym with group classes. Best way to describe is light weights, high reps, lots of cardio in an hour. I like it for the results I've gotten, but the place is made for women. That's the main demographic. There's a class separate from me that is all strength-based, or picking up heavy shit, as you say, that I want to join, but it's $100 extra a month. It sounds great, but I'd rather use that money towards supplements. What do you do in this situation? Skip the supplements, pick up heavy shit and put it down. And you don't need to be part of a class to do that. You know what simple exercises are? Push-ups, chin-ups. If you can't do one chin-up yourself, then use like the assisted machine where it's weight assisted. Same thing with push-ups. If you can't do push-ups, even one push-up yourself, just lean up against the wall and start pushing up, and then you slowly like lower your weight down. So just start easy, but I wouldn't blow money on supplements right now. My recommendation is to pick up heavy stuff and put down. In fact, skip the cardio shit, because you're going to do so much more. You're going to get so much more in the way of results for the time invested by picking up heavy things and putting them down. I'm not sure what your age is. It doesn't say there, but for guys around my age, cardio is not good. Cardio is not going to build strength, and it doesn't really burn fat that effectively either. What does work very effectively is picking up heavy weights and putting them down. Compound exercises like squatting, deadlifts, and bench pressing are really good. And the last part of your question, rewarded myself a little vacation in Chicago in February. Main reason, I'm horny. Backstory, I lived there for 2 years working as a bouncer. Made a lot of friends when I was there, including a few waitresses and female regulars from the bar. My question is, if you're in my spot, when you start telling your friends you'll be in town, what would your method to see which girl is the one that wants to play the role of Chad Thundercock? Okay. Just interest. I talk about indication of interest a lot with people that I coach, especially on sales roles and stuff like that. And people often move towards a sale too quickly without seeing high levels of interest from their prospect. So it doesn't matter if it's a sales prospect you want to sell something to, or if it is something along the lines of a woman that you want, that you dig. Indicators of interest are she's flirty, she's sending you pictures. The flirtier pictures, the better. The naughtier pictures, the better. Those are higher levels of interest. If you're not getting communication back, if it's weak communications, if it's one-word answers, if she's not asking you questions, that's very low levels of interest. So higher level of interest, you'll know when you get it. It's as simple as that. Move up here to Matt, and he said, what are the biggest misconceptions smart people have about money and finance? I don't think smart people have misconceptions about money. It's pretty hard to be intelligent and suck at money because money's just math. It's like, it's just a math equation. I make X amount of dollars, you spend a certain amount, you spend less than what you make. It's as simple as that. One of the biggest things that I see a lot in my debt relief business, and if you want more insight on that, there's a YouTube channel. It's called Total Debt Freedom. I don't upload very often there, but I will be probably putting something out at least once a month or so. And I've been meaning to do a video on wiping the makeup off the pig. And what that basically entails is most people on a balance of probabilities think that they basically come to the world presenting a pig with makeup. Pigs are, creatures that roll around in mud and eat their own shit, and, they're omnivores and they'll eat whatever you throw in the pen, right? Like they're gross. They taste good. Bacon's awesome. But quite often what people end up doing is they'll throw lipstick and eyeshadow and push-up bras and underwear and fishnet and pumps and all that stuff, and they'll try to make the pig look good. But once you wipe off all the makeup, it's still a pig, okay? So the biggest misconception I see about people when it comes to money is they think that their shit doesn't stink when really it's really bad. It's often a lot worse than what they think it is. If they're looking for help or they're seeking answers to something they're stuck on, it's really just boiling again back down to a math problem. So again, the biggest misconception that I've seen is people tend to paint their pig with makeup. David, he says, how would you handle staying in a relationship with your long-term partner who you didn't love or want to be with anymore, just to stop from being ruined financially and continue to see your children? That's hard. That's one of the things that I coach a lot of guys on, David. I know that you're a Patreon, one of the lower levels, but I kind of need some more frame around the question. I don't know if you want to post some more there in the private community, or if you want to book a call with me. But if you're looking to exit, there's ways that you can do it. It's going to be a lot of work though. And depending on the scenario, the work might be worth it. The juice may not be worth the squeeze. So in a scenario like that, I really need some more information about it. But if you're serious about doing something to change that environment, we can talk further one-on-one. Charles says, when will you make the how-to video on maintaining the perfect beard and shaved head? It's not hard. Just don't shave for probably a couple months. It's going to get messy and nasty. And find a really good barbershop that is very good with manicuring a beard. So ask around. Basically, you might have to go to a few different places. It took me a few different tries to find a couple of good places that I can rely on. And then with that, you want to condition it. So there's a YouTube channel called Gray Bailey. My friend George Bruno runs that. He talks about beard and hair care and all kinds of stuff in a lot more detail, but you're going to want to use beard oil to condition and soften it so it's not prickly, especially when you're making out with the women, and balm, which will shape it. So those are the two products that I use. As far as shaving your head, you just need a razor. There's different stuff on the market, but I usually just do it every 2 to 3 days. Usually do it after work, at the gym when I'm in the shower, just shave it in there because you're standing in there for 10, 15 minutes, giving it a good cleanup. That's the way that I would do it. Dominique, is survivor guilt a thing impossible to avoid when you are an entrepreneur? Sometimes I think I'm on a battlefield, and today I've learned that 2 of my comrades have given up and closing their businesses down. Somehow I feel bad that I'm allowed to keep the fight when those dudes fell under the bullets. They didn't fall under bullets. The thing about entrepreneurship is most businesses fail. 9 out of 10 are going to fail. And I've had more failures than wins when it comes to starting something up. It is what it is. It's just once you figure out your formula that works, then you're able to basically 10x it. You can multiply it up and do a better job next time. So don't lose, you learn. Learn from the mistake, learn from the cost, and start up something new. You can go through it 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times before it even sticks. And like, I know it gets expensive, but that's why I always recommend that the guys bootstrap any kind of startup so that you're not blowing money on dumb stuff. It's not the kind of guilt that I think you should have, survivor guilt, when it comes to your friends' businesses crashing and burning. I would take it as a lesson and moving on. That's what real entrepreneurs do, and that's how they get successful. What's up, Juka? Good morning, man. Lloyd says, how do you get motivated to start talking to pretty girls like at the gym or the shop? The objective is to get a girlfriend, not a one-night stand or anything out of context. I think you should remove the objective is to get a girlfriend, because that is going to project out a lot of neediness. It's going like, even if that's not what you're saying in the first couple of dates. I can't remember the article that I read, but it was a few years ago, and somebody that wrote in the Manosphere said something along the lines of, when a woman says to you, what are you looking for in a woman, you do not reply a relationship or a girlfriend. That's something that's got to be earned. It's of course got to be a good fit and all that sort of stuff, but it's an earnable trait. So don't go into the equation with the objective is to get a girlfriend. Spin plates, have fun, contrast the different behavior. Use vetting techniques that I've talked about. Grab that book that I've mentioned by Sean Smith, The Tactical Guide to Vetting Women. So you know how to filter through the riffraff and separate the low drama, high virtue women from the high drama, low virtue women, basically the crap. And, like the cream will rise to the top. Like the objective of seeking the girlfriend is just going to let yourself down. So, you got to get on the ice to score a goal. You say, how do you get motivated? You just talk to them. It's like, you're not going to walk up to them and do the whole pickup thing. Give me a sec. Do the stupid pickup thing where you're like, hey, you're the most beautiful girl in the world, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to buy you a coffee. If she's reading a book, or does something like pops a credit card out of a special wallet, or is on a new phone, you can start the conversation by saying something like, well, how do you like that new Samsung Galaxy Note 8? I was thinking about upgrading mine, and just kind of enter the conversation from there. She'll send you indicators of interest if she thinks that you're attractive and wants to talk further. And it's really as simple as that. I mean, you don't stay in that conversation for too long and overstay your welcome. You're the one that's going to want to leave. You're going to do the whole, something along the lines of, well, it's been great talking. I'd love to continue the conversation. Can we connect later? I'd love to grab your number, sort of thing. And then just make it like, you're in high demand and you got to go somewhere. You don't want to stand there and impose your space and time, but that should give you some frame around that one. All right. So those are the questions off the private Facebook community. Hey, Sam, what's up? Let me head over to the Entrepreneurs in Cars page and see what questions we got there. And guys, by the way, those of you that are on live right now, if you have questions, best place for me to see them, because I've only got 2 pop-out windows. I'm going to switch over to the Patreon page in a minute, but post your questions on the YouTube chat box. It's an unlisted link right now for those of you that are watching the recording later. If you want to participate in the live broadcast, you need to become a patron. So Entrepreneurs in Cars questions. Gotta scroll down. Curtis, is it ever okay to give a woman a gift? I've been seeing a girl for a couple of months. In the past, I would have already bought some flowers and paid for 80% of meals. I've avoided gifts and honestly don't have the urge to give her anything, even though she's cool. When's a good time, if ever? Birthday, like Christmas, maybe, if that's a holiday that you celebrate. But buying flowers, dumb. Don't ever do that. Paying for 80% of meals, dumb. Don't do that. I'm not saying it needs to be like a 50-50 split, but you like the burden of carrying the the dating activity shouldn't be coming entirely from this place. She can wipe the dust off her purse and offer to invite you over and cook a meal for dinner or something like that if you're going to do a Netflix and chill and hang out at her place. Buying flowers for a girl that you've only been dating for a couple of months, that doesn't work. That's it's nice in theory. It's very Disney-esque. It's what we've been programmed to believe with blue pill plugged-in conditioning. And women will say that it's sweet, but women don't want to fuck sweet guys. They want to do that with Chad Thundercock. They want to be with the alpha. Those are the guys that they want to be with. So, if you want to get pushed into the beta zone, then buy her flowers. If you want to signal more alpha characteristics, doing stuff like that is not going to get you there. Anthony, hey, Rich, what would you say is a definitive solution to a nonsense depression? What is the definitive solution to nonsense depression in men? Let's say a young male with a lot of options and control over his life, but who is always down for no explainable reason. You might want to get that checked out, man. Life is up and down for guys, and guys usually suffer very quietly when it comes to depression. I've been in bouts of depression myself. Shit doesn't always go well, especially when you're an entrepreneur, because it's a roller coaster ride. You're up and down. You're up and down. Things are great and things crash a lot too. And it happens a lot in men's personal life when things don't go well with women. I think one of the biggest things that contributes to poor mental health with men is if they're blue pilled, is if they're believing the programming, like the plugged in programming that has been rammed down their throat since they were young, to follow the notion of buying women flowers, like in the prior question, and not getting the results that you want. And then you get depressed, or, trying to start up a business and it doesn't work out and then you get depressed. We live in a pussified society today. Let's be honest. The Western man has been weakened. If you follow my stuff on Instagram, you see some of the posts that I do with men's fashion and certain ways that they try to suppress masculinity. And I don't believe in any of that. I mean, one of the best things that you can do to improve your sense of well-being and your mood is go to the gym. Nothing will make you feel better and make you look better than picking up heavy shit and putting it down. It's attractive to women. It throws your shoulders back. It makes you look strong. It throws off alpha cues. Even if you're not, you can still look big and strong and impressive. So those are one of the best things that you can do. You know, aside from that, there's a lot of natural things that you can take which will improve mood as well. CBD oil is good. It really helps with anxiety. It's I think it's available through Amazon on certain providers. I think pretty much in North America now you can get it. If you live here in Canada, get a prescription from your doctor for medicinal cannabis. Sorry, I was eating popcorn earlier with a movie. And order the CBD oil. You don't get high off it, but it helps you sleep better, improves mood, and will get rid of anxiety pretty quickly too. I'm just going to switch over here. Yeah, that's everything on that page. Malon says, you shared on one of Stefan Molyneux's video on your page a while back. What's your opinion of his content? I like what Stefan puts out. I find it's too long a lot of the times. I prefer shorter format, get right to the point. He's bright. He's a bright guy. There's an interesting interview that he did, I think twice, on Joe Rogan. So check that out. And Joe's got some interesting opinions on Stefan, which I tend to lean on a little bit. But he's got an interesting concept, the way that he puts out his content. I just feel that it's a little bit long form. I wish he could get to the point sooner. But smart guy. Again, if you guys are live watching this right now, post your questions more on the YouTube chat. I'll get to the Patreon page in a second. Sam says, I think he's naive in regards to finding a woman to marry and have children with. I've seen him talk about it in a couple of videos. There was one that really stood out, Sam, where he was talking about, you know, if you want to vet women for long-term relationships or for marriage, and this was based on studies, you know, the good thing about what he does when he's presenting it is he's always relying on, you know, information that's studied, and he references it in the video. I think the main points that I took away, and I believe I put it at the end of my divorce video. If you haven't seen it, check out the divorce video on my channel. It's about 40 minutes long. It's got a lot of information on vetting women better. Don't marry a slut, meaning somebody that lost their virginity at a younger age. Basically, the older they are when they lose their virginity, the lower the chances of divorce or her being promiscuous. You know, 15, 16, 17, probably not the greatest idea. You know, 18, 19, 20, better. You know, the older the better, basically, is what the stats said. That and the number of partners. If she's had a ton of partners, I think the number was after, maybe, I don't know, it was 8 or 10. It wasn't a lot. I think you can pretty much count it on two hands. So if you can count the number of partners that she's had on more than two hands, the chances of an LTR lasting is not good. So that's a short-term sort of thing. It's a spin plate, have some fun, move on. But it's something to be aware of, Sam. So I don't think it's naive. I think he's pointing to some pretty factual evidence as well. Oh, I think I had some questions here on my Instagram. So let me just pop that chat bubble back up and find that one. All right. Wow. Okay, here we go. Definitely joining tonight. You might have touched base on this, but what were some of the things people who assisted you in your red pill journey? I'm starting mine. I went through it pretty fast. I'll be honest with you. I've talked to a few guys and I've coached a few guys that have been trying to reconcile red pill awareness for a few years. And it was around this time last year that I was introduced to the rational male. The guy that introduced it to me, I was at a men's retreat in Spokane, Washington. It's called the Brotherhood. It's an entrepreneurs group. And I was chatting with one guy over breakfast. We were talking about women and stuff and what our strategy was. And he said, you got to read The Rational Male based on what we were chatting back and forth about. So I downloaded it. I listened to it on the flight back. And I've said this before, it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's a ton of information. You got to go through it a whole bunch of times to get it all. But that's where it started for me. People that helped me along the way, I think was your second question. Yeah, I personally think that guys should focus if it comes to, you know, you want to unplug from the blue pill conditioning and the bullshit that you've been subscribing to that doesn't work. Rollo's work is very good. Roosh V, I've seen a lot of his stuff lately. He's been talking on his YouTube channel, so go subscribe to that. He's more of a pickup artist. I think Rollo's more of like a red pill kind of married guy. But Roosh understands female nature very succinctly. I would say look at the MGTOW channels, you know, if you want to kind of contrast and compare. I personally don't like the notion of completely unplugging from the competitiveness of, you know, women. So Rollo and I talked about that in a recent video in this series where we did the interview. I think that was about in the last week. So if you haven't seen that one, check it out. But yeah, just start paying attention to stuff, you know, with a critical eye is what I did. On the private Facebook group, somebody posted a video of Lauren Southern and another girl talking about the dangers of trading up. Let me see if I can find it. What the hell was it called? Better Man Project. Sorry, the title of the video is called The Consequences of Trading Up. And if you watch that with a critical eye, they're coming off, or they're implying to the world, they're holding up to the world that they're these rational women that are unicorns and they understand hypergamy and they try to control it. But by the end of the video, and if you don't catch it the first time, watch it a second time or a third time, you'll start to see a lot of lies. You know, like there's always going to be like Rollo talks about crabs in the barrel, you know, pulling the AFCs, the average frustrated chumps back in, you know, so by the time you crawl up to the top, the crabs in the barrel grab them and they pull them back down, you know, because they kind of want them blue pilled and plugged in. They want the old conditioning to stay put. So it's work, and stuff like this is content that confuses guys, and they think that there are unicorns and that, you know, hope exists and that there are these special snowflakes. It's one of the reasons why, guys, you'll notice in my more recent videos, I've dropped my rational sisters. I don't think women can be rational in the sense that men want them to be rational, or at least in the sense that men can be. They have their own, you know, way of thinking and their own degree, but brothers from another mother will always remain. I don't believe that there's such a thing as a rational sister in the way that I would like to see a rational sister behave. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me go back to, sorry, I got distracted there. Let me go back to this question. Guys in live chat, keep posting your questions. I'll get to them in 1 second. That was Red Pill. Buddy's Insight says, Buddy's Insight has a YouTube channel, by the way. He does moto vlogs. He's over in the UK. He says, will you ever do merchandise on your channel? Answer that real quick. I did create a, what the hell is it called? A merch page on Teespring. And I kind of very poorly designed some t-shirts. I haven't promoted them because I don't really like the design. I shared it on Facebook just to kind of test to see what people thought. But I'll probably do something more with it later. Just like logo stuff that I would like to broadcast, like ZFG, of course, because you guys know what ZFG means. Do you think you can teach someone to be a full-on entrepreneur with all the knowledge and instincts it needs? You can teach somebody. The problem that I have when I coach a lot of startup entrepreneurs, guys that are doing less than $200,000 a year in sales, is I find that a lot of them are askholes. And an askhole is somebody that asks you for advice but doesn't execute on the advice that you give them. So you keep having the same conversation 2, 3, 4, 5 months later. And that's draining on me personally, because I get a lot, like the charge that I get is when you guys, you know, comment, message, privately email me, join the Facebook community, support me as a Patreon, and express gratitude for the value that you've gotten out of, you know, the direct or indirect communication with me. So if you're looking to be a full-on entrepreneur, you got to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, it's a waste of time. Don't waste a mentor's time if you're not serious about it. You know, one of the things that people ask all the time is, can you help me with my business? But they're not willing to pay for my time. The reason why there's a paywall there is because it shows me that you're serious about what it is that you want to do. Stever says, okay, that was a red pill question. Cody, what are the best pieces of advice you haven't done in a video for 20-year-olds on finance, health, business, sex, love, and fitness. Fuck, that's a lot. Finance. Don't blow money up. I'm going to make this quick because this could be an hour-long one. Finance. Don't blow money on dumb shit. Okay. It's a lot easier to save a buck than it is to make a buck. So I'll start with that. Also use your 20s to build the foundation of the rest of your life, whether it is a business that you want to create or somewhere you want to work and advance your career. Work on yourself. Don't focus on long-term relationships with women. Your 20s should be used for building the foundation for the rest of your life. Health. Take care of your body. You know what's good for your body. You really do. I mean, people ask all the time, what are your best health tips and blah, blah, blah. I mean, give me a fucking break. If you're making your dinner in a microwave and you're eating that shit, it's not good for you. Anybody with common sense knows that. Our DNA, our genomes tell us that that's not good. One of the things that I felt a strong desire in the past year is I want to hunt. I want to harvest an animal. I want to kill it and I want to eat it. I've really felt that strong desire in the last couple of years. And I've started to connect with some people. I've got my PAL, which is possession acquisition license for rifles. I've had them for years. I just never use them. I'm getting a scope mounted to one. So it's one of the things that I want to do. You really do know what matters for your health. Your body will tell you, your intuition will speak to you. Avoid sugary shit, processed foods. I talked about this earlier in the live session. So if you're just getting on now, you're missing it, but watch the recording, it's there. Somebody was asking for some health tips on losing weight and getting stronger. Business. In business, 10x what you're strong at. So whatever it is that you're world class at, that's what you want to focus on. Don't focus on your weaknesses. If you focus on your weaknesses, all you're going to have is really strong weaknesses, right? Simple as that. Sex. Have lots of sex, sex is great. I mean, why wouldn't you want to do that? I'm not really sure what you want to get to on that one more specifically, but the next one, try to be more specific. Guys, try to be a little more specific on these questions when you ask them. Love, red pill. And fitness, again, pick up heavy shit, put it down, move your body. We're not designed to sit in chairs for 12 hours a day. We're designed to, walk 15 miles and hunt saber-toothed fucking tigers and run away from dangerous beasts and fuck and sleep. Like, we're just really nothing more than advanced bonobo chimps. The genetic differences between human beings and bonobo chimps is less than 3%. In fact, the genetic differences between human beings and bonobo chimps is smaller than the differences between an African elephant and an Indian elephant. So if you think that like human beings are these amazing spectacles of meat and flesh on the earth, they're not. We give ourselves way too much credit for for the things that we are. We've just figured out how to create roads, make cars, invent computers, the internet. It's clever stuff, but we're still balls of meat. And our main purpose on this earth is to scatter seeds and reproduce and fuck. And that's really it. Okay, that's done off that platform. Yuka. It's Yuka, right? I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Do you think that it's bad for me to take my work and career too seriously? What I mean by that is I'm in a situation where I find myself dealing with days when I'm in working more than the days off work. My litmus test for that is, do you really enjoy what you're doing? Because our time on the earth is limited. Why would you want to waste your time doing shit you don't love? Time flies. It really, really does. I can't tell you how much I've come to realize this over the last few years since I turned 40. I'm 44. I just turned 44 last month. And the kind of shit that I think about now, it's like, if what I knew, I mean, everybody will say this, but if what you know now when you're 20 is available to you, like, you would do things totally differently. You wouldn't take things that you hate seriously. You wouldn't stay in relationships with women that suck, that are draining, that are energy vampires. You won't hang out with people that are losers. You won't spend time in environments that, make you feel dumb. You won't sit there and watch retarded TV shows about, rose ceremonies and 30 guys vying for the love of one girl, or vice versa, the other way around. You just won't. It's part of the reason why I canceled cable about 5 or 6 years ago, because a lot of stuff's bullshit. So yeah, like folk, my philosophy for life is simple: do more of what I love, do less of what I hate. And I really subscribe to that, and I mean that. And I also listen more to myself, my inner voice, my intuition, whatever it is that you want to call me. I just said earlier, one of the things I want to do is I want to harvest a large animal in North America. I'm going to figure out how to do that because I just feel a desire to do it. Vegans are going to be all up in arms. Oh, you can't, fuck off. That's what we're designed to do. If you want to eat cabbage, go for it. That's not what I want to do. So like I said, do what you want and do less of the stuff that you don't want, and don't let people impose their belief systems on you. Just because somebody believes something is true to them, again, if they want to be a vegetarian or be vegan, all the power to you, go for it. I'm not going to impose my beliefs on you. I don't need you to impose yours on me. Okay. Just getting through all the platforms. I'm going to switch over to the private broadcast on Patreon and see if there's any questions there that I missed. Those of you that are still live on the chat, keep posting your questions. I'm going to get to them. I should be on for another half an hour tops. Okay, here's one. So Jose says, I haven't really talked to any girls with the intent of pursuing a relationship since I took the red pill. That's cool. The last one I was talking to on Tinder turned out to be batshit crazy. She suffered from depression and anxiety. I think this is one of the best examples when the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Good. I'm going to give you a slow clap there. The moment that you realize that you're not wasting time on loser women is the moment that you take control back in your life. It's one of the most pivotal points, I think, in taking the red pill, is saying no to energy vampires, saying no to high drama, low virtue women. So glad to read that. Glad to read that. I was the one to pull the plug, and I'm convinced that dodged a missile. I've always liked the quote from the Batman movie where he says, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you. And it's helped me see through all the bullshit. I think it was a valuable experience after all, but the thing that worried me now is I went back to so many of my principles and was simping hard AF. Oh, okay. Do you have any advice on how we can self-check our behavior and how to avoid going back to beta plantation when in a relationship? Knowledge is important, but let's be honest, pussy can be like a powerful drug. Yeah, it's true. You will waver back and forth, okay? On a scale of, the red pill awareness and the blue pill plugged in. You will waver back and forth. It's just a grim reality of it. So I found myself doing that a few times, if I'm being honest. And I'm going to do a video on red pill and what's next after red pill, like a dedicated video for the channel. So look for that in the future, because somebody asked me what's next after the red pill. And the summed up answer is game, applying the awareness to life in all areas, not just women. You can apply it to work, to money, to relationships, to friendships, to family events, all that sort of stuff. So it's just practice, man. When you catch yourself plugging back in and becoming the crab in the barrel with all the other average frustrated chumps that subscribe to blue pill thinking, you should have some kind of trigger that alerts you to it. And you'll know, because things will just not work out. Something will trigger it because you'll get a reaction that's not in line with your expectations based on your thinking. Your belief system, I've talked about this, your belief system comes from within. It governs the choices that you make, which will decide the results that you get. If the results that you're getting are not what you're looking for, you're making bad choices, which means you need to update your belief system again. Your belief system is going to constantly change back and forth. I say to people all the time, they're like, oh, well, you change your mind. Well, I don't change my mind. I update my belief system. When I update my belief system, I choose different things, which gives me different results. So you just have to be aware of it. It's a level of self-awareness. When you're aware of it and you're tuned into it and you modify it on a regular basis, it's good. It's attractive to everybody out there, including women, especially women. When you have self-awareness, it's probably one of the most attractive things to women, when you're self-aware of your own value and the ability to navigate the world with a red pill. Any other questions, guys? Pop them in the chat box. I think that's all the yeah, those are all the questions you guys left for me on all the channels. I might have missed something in one of the message boxes or the direct messages. They get flooded sometimes, but any more questions, throw them there. Let me see if I did get them all. Yeah, okay. And I got to check one more chat box, which I think is there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so that's everything I've got. You guys got any more questions for me while I'm live? Otherwise, we can wrap it up in a few minutes if you're all good in the hood. Any video requests or topic suggestions you've got for me? Got my notepad here. I can write a few things down. I'm looking at you in live chat. You can say I'm Elon. All right. And sorry, I'm closing up a few of these over here. Oh, by the way, guys, I've just recently gotten into cryptocurrency. I was wrong about it. I've talked about cryptocurrency being a potential train wreck with regulators, government, and banking. I'm going to probably start talking a little bit more about opportunities in the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. I'm going to make a big investment myself over the next few weeks. Do some coin trading, probably grab some of the bigger coins and some of the shit coins and do some day-by-day stuff. There's other investment opportunities which I'm looking at. If you haven't checked out CryptoKitties, by the way, I'd recommend looking at it. It's probably one of the first applications running on the Ethereum blockchain that could potentially be big, that could bring it mainstream. It's kind of a crazy ass idea, but it really could potentially have a lot of legs in it. Going back over the question box here. How do you find what your best skills are? One, you love doing it, so you lose track of time when you do it. And two, you're world-class at it. You just know that you should know. And if people are telling you you're really good at this, or they seek advice from you on that subject, that's what your best skills are. It's really as simple as that. Sam says, how can I fit socially at 20 while being red pill? I feel like an alien around most guys my age. You'll be surprised how many guys around your age are red pilled. I've talked to, a ton of guys now, coaching on clarity.fm, and a lot of them have been younger. And I'm actually constantly surprised and impressed with a lot of young guys that are red pilled and navigate the world properly and are doing great things at younger ages. I mean, I wish I knew the shit that I know now at 20. So don't fret. Just like, you become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So if you're spending time with 5 blue-pilled losers, you're going to be the 6th. It's like the whole crabs in a barrel thing. They're going to try to pull you back down and try to keep you with the group of losers. So you just have to update your belief system. You have to update your circle of influence. You have to hang out with new people that are also better than you are. That's the key thing. Hang out with people that are where you want to be in 10 years' time. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of 20-year-olds that are, drinking and getting stupid and getting bar fights and, behaving like assholes and blowing money on dumb shit, you're going to be, the 6th, right? It's as simple as that. Second part to your question. I've had girlfriends in high school my first year in college, so I went down the path and I'm no longer pursuing that. I just avoid talking about red pill topics to avoid girls or to avoid conflict. I wouldn't avoid it. Bring up the notion. You're going to find that it's either going to be of interest to somebody or they're going to vehemently deny it. And, you just go down the road from there. If they're opposed to the notion of having that conversation, then just don't talk to them about it again. If they want to know more, I've made some great friends that I've red pilled, and we hang out a lot now. So, and they were blue pilled when we were talking about stuff. So it's cool. Go either way. I have a few things I'm good at, but I don't know what I should invest my time in. Well, if you're talking about a business, you're also 20, feel the same way as Sam. Are you talking about a business, Malin? like you're looking to start something up? I'm just going to address, Curtis, your question about red pill movies. Fuck, there was one on, you know what? I got a list of red pill movies, and I watched a few of them, and they were pretty good. I think if you Google it, you'll probably find a list somewhere on the web. I believe that's where I came across it. So yeah, do that. You know, it's funny now because when I watch any kind of programming, either in a theater, on TV, or anything like that, I often view it with a critical eye, and I think to myself, I can tell the writer was a red pill guy, or the writer was like a room full of feminists. It's pretty funny. Okay, so yes, I am. So to answer your question about starting something up, I would, again, do what you're world class at, and do what you love. And one of the things that, like, I think I've talked about this on this YouTube channel before about entrepreneurs and cars. And, you know, the notion of what I'm doing with this keeps changing over time. If you go back to the very first videos on the channel that I uploaded a few years ago, they're different. I was different. You know, I was plugged in. You know, my conditioning was more blue pilled. I mean, I've always been fairly alpha, but I was plugged in. I was blue pilled. I was an average frustrated chump. You know, my look was different than at that time too. I didn't have a big thick beard and, you know, the like. We do evolve over time. We do update our belief systems. And I started this channel with the intent of interviewing entrepreneurs and their success rides. Only I ran out of friends with cool cars that wanted to share their story. So I started doing kind of filler content. I called them in-between episodes to myself, and just kind of like tips on how to hire people, tips on this and that. And somebody one day said, you should do a video on the types of women to avoid dating. I was like, okay, fine. And then that kind of just moved it into the other side of the channel, which turned into intergender relationships with women. And then I got red pilled after I'd broken up with, I was with a woman for 3 years that had a couple kids, and that went fucking upside down. Like there was literally 3 things that red pilled me. One, it was the divorce. First thing first. I learned how men were treated very differently than what I was expected. Second thing was there's a video on my channel about the timeline in my business. I can't remember the name of the video, but go to the playlist. It'll be tied up into the playlist under entrepreneurship. But I shared the timeline of my business and how the government and regulators and the banks and credit card companies just made it so obvious to me that they don't care about consumers and people. All they care about is being in office and their profit margins. And then the third thing was the breakup with that chick that I was with for about 3 years. I did a video on the channel about my experience dating a single mom. That was that story. And that's what really red pilled me. Those 3 events back to back woke me the fuck up, because I was operating at a level that just was not sustainable. You know, there was a time in my life where I was considering, you know, suicide, probably about five, maybe 6 years ago, in and around then. So it was all those things started to happen. So to get back to your question, because I kind of went off topic a little bit, you know, the point is what you start up doing the business with may not necessarily be what it ends up becoming. My debt negotiation business that I have right now, that I've been running for 15 years, I started out in a very small niche, marketing to mortgage agents to try to help them close deals with people that, you know, they had 50 grand in credit card debt, but they could only get a mortgage for 30, for example. So that's where I started marketing that. So that's changed quite a lot since then. You know, we've adapted software, you know, we market differently, we take on different types of clientele. Our approach to getting them out of debt is different. The strategies change over time. But I always know that I'm working on something that I love and that I'm world-class at. So to kind of sum up that question, James Altucher did a podcast where he talked about idea generation for business ideas. And one of the things he was talking about was marrying up things that you're passionate about, which is what I did with Entrepreneurs in Cars. I've always been passionate about cars since I was a little kid, and love fast cars. It's my thing. You'll always see me upload stuff on the channel from time to time with fast cars. And most recently in the last 10, 15 years, entrepreneurs. I just like being around really smart people that are doing shit with their lives, that are putting a little dent in the universe. So I hope that adds some insight to it. And yes, it definitely has to make money, because if it's not making money, it's just a hobby. It's why I constantly on the YouTube channel are always telling people, look, If you want help with that thing you're stuck on, book my time. If you like my work and you want to support my work, become a Patreon, sort of thing, right? So that's why I create those tiers, because it's got to make money. YouTube does not pay. It's peanuts. It's nothing. I could not survive on that, not even for like a couple weeks. It's really a big fucking joke, to be honest with you. So yes, it does have to make money. Otherwise, it is just a hobby. So always make sure that you're exchanging your time for some form of compensation. You know, what's your opinion on fucking or dating girls that are in relationships with another dude? Go for it. Who cares? I mean, like, what's your reservation there? I'm going to be on for another 10 more minutes. So what's your reservation there? Like, you know, if she's dating somebody else, but she wants to get with you, go have fun. Like, you know, it is what it is. Could it cause trouble? Well, of course it could if the guy, yeah, well, you're not going to do it in front of him, right? And, you know, if she's that kind of girl, then she's not the kind of girl you want to get into an LTR with anyway. She's just, you know, she's the fun girl. Done it. It is her decision morally. Okay, so that's Curtis answering to it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Curtis. And yes, it can cause trouble if you're not careful. I would avoid the drama. Curtis, I've done it too. I was fine until she invited me to the bar that her boyfriend was at. She's kind of stupid then, huh? Maybe she's like one of, you know what? Sounds like she's one of these attention chicks, you know, like these Instagram attention hoes that just like soliciting the, you know, attention of a bunch of guys. So have your fun with it. You know, that's really all that it is. All right, I'm going to wrap up in a couple minutes unless you guys got any more questions on this December Q&A sesh. I've enjoyed going through the list of the questions on all the pages. I got to find a way to centralize it just so it's a little easier for me to get through this. But yeah, so thanks for watching tonight's live broadcast for Patrons. Again, if you enjoy this sort of content and you want to get access to some exclusive stuff, please become a patron. There's a whole bunch of tiers there, anything from joining the private Facebook community, which gives you access to me directly, and a bunch of really smart guys, if I'm being honest with you, because we've had some good conversations there now the past few months, all the way up to exclusive content, coaching, or I've even got one client that's booking me for monthly coaching now to help get his business off the ground. So there you have it. Thanks for checking out today's video. Have an amazing one. We'll see you in the next one in January, which always falls on the first Wednesday of every month at 9 p.m. And again, if you guys are part of the community and you can't make it live because where you are in the world, I'll always post on social and take your questions beforehand if you can't make it. So that's it for today. Have an amazing one. We'll talk to you later. Peace.